all you need to know, the Bloomberg Quint podcast that prepares you for the day's business. Good morning and thanks for listening in. This is the All You Need to Know podcast on Bloomberg Quint and I'm Alex Matthew. Today is the 12th of August. You might want to check the latest COVID-19 infections data that will come out later this morning. Let's hope that yesterday's fall in the number of fresh cases was the start of a trend. In the 24 hours to 8 a.m. yesterday, India added about 53,600 cases, taking the total to 22.6 lakh. That's the lowest addition in the last 6 days. In the top news, there's data on the economy. The IIP, or Index of Industrial Production, for the month of June was released last evening. And you guessed it, industrial production declined for the fourth straight month. The positive, if you can call it that, is that the decline was not as sharp as had been anticipated. IIP contracted 16.6% in June compared with the revised 34% contraction in May. Economists polled by Bloomberg had forecast that the IIP would contract by 21%. Among the key activity that's tracked as part of the index, manufacturing output contracted by 17.1% in June, while mining output and electricity generation contracted by about 20% and 10% respectively. Overnight, the big update is the move in gold prices. As you've probably been aware, gold prices have been on quite the run, having rocketed past $2,000 a troy ounce. Well, overnight, prices fell by the most in 7 years, falling by nearly 5% to around $1,930 an ounce on the back of a climb in Treasury yields. Analysts believe that the move up in the real interest rates in the US pushed gold lower. But there's also possibly another factor at play. There's some optimism after Russian President Vladimir Putin announced during the day yesterday that Russia had cleared the first COVID-19 vaccine in the world for use. In fact, that's had a bearing on oil prices as well. They headed higher overnight, but they were not able to sustain above a key technical level. As of this morning, WTI crude was trading at $41.7 to the barrel and Brent was at $44.6. In international news, in the presidential race in the US, Bloomberg has reported that Joe Biden has chosen Senator Kamala Harris as his running mate, betting that her ties to the African American community and self-branding as a progressive prosecutor will help propel him to the White House. She ran against Biden in the Democratic presidential primaries, remember, and becomes the first black woman and first Asian American woman on a major party presidential ticket. In international markets, US stocks finally took a breather. The Dow declined 0.4% and the S&P 500 dropped 0.8%. The tech-heavy Nasdaq, meanwhile, fell the most, ending lower by 1.7%. Some traders have cited comments from Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell saying that stimulus stocks in the US are at a stalemate as a catalyst for the declines in stocks. In the Asia-Pacific region, all three early risers, taking cues from the US markets, have started the day in the red. And with that, it's over to Hormuz Fatakia for the trade setup for the day in India. Good morning, Hormuz. How are we looking today?
Good morning to you, Alex, and to our listeners as well. It was the fifth straight day of sub 1% moves for the Indian markets, but the sixth straight day of gains for the Nifty. The benchmark ended Tuesday's session at the highest level in over 5 months. On to the stocks in focus now. Adani Ports has approved raising 3,000 crore rupees through NCDs. The company has stated that it expects to conclude the acquisition of the Krishnapatnam port by the second quarter of FY21. The stock will also be reacting to its June quarter results that surpassed analyst estimates. Speaking of earnings, Metropolis Healthcare managed to report a net profit in the June quarter as against Bloomberg estimates of a net loss. Most other parameters, though significantly lower than the previous year, were higher than estimates. Ahead of its numbers, the stock ended over 6% lower on Tuesday, the most in 5 months. Rashtriya Chemical Fertilizers or RCF's net profit more than doubled in the June quarter, while lower power, freight and raw material costs led to an expansion in EBITDA margins. Stocks like Pratap Snacks, Somani Ceramics, KRBL, Shriram City Union, Chalet Hotels reported numbers late on Tuesday and will react to the same today. Nifty 50 earnings take a one-day breather, but the action continues in the broader market space with companies like Aarti Industries, Aurobindo Pharma, Ashok Leyland, Bharat Forge, Cummins India, Graphite India, Natco Pharma, Tata Power amongst others reporting numbers today. Away from earnings, the shareholders of Eicher Motors have approved to split one equity share of 10 rupees into 10 equity shares of 1 rupee each. The Royal Enfield makers said that the expected time for the share split will be in 2 to 3 months. Inox Leisure will be on the radar today as the Abu Dhabi Investment Authority has purchased over 1% stake in the company. Other buyers include the Scale Master Fund and HDFC Mutual Fund. The Supreme Court has passed an order for Orissa Mineral Development or OMDC to resume mining operations subject to necessary clearances. It has also allowed the sale of undisposed stock following due process. A few smaller names that may see reaction to news flow. MPS has approved a share buyback at 600 rupees a share, which is a 51% premium to Tuesday's closing price, while JMC Projects has received EPC orders worth over 1300 crore rupees. The Nifty has gained in all but one session in the month of August. However, the same can't be said for local investors. The DII selling spree spilled over to a seventh day on Tuesday, with the 1400 crore sell number being the highest in the last 7 days. You can get more details on all these stocks in our All You Need to Know copy on BloombergQuint.com. And with that, I wish you a safe day ahead, and it's back to you, Alex.
Thanks, Hormuz. And as always, thank you all for listening in. That's all we have for you in this podcast, but as always, there's a lot more on the website, BloombergQuint.com, so don't forget to check it out. This is Alex Matthews signing off. Have a great day.
I hope you enjoyed listening to All You Need to Know. Did you know that you could listen to the show on the IVM Podcast app? On the IVM Podcast app, along with this, we have a number of other shows which you think you'll enjoy. Listen to Cyrus Says with Cyrus Brocha as the host. Listen to Paisa Vaisa with Anupam Gupta. The Scene and the Unseen with Amit Verma. Or Shunya One hosted by Shiladitya Mukhopadhyay and myself. Check out the IVM Podcast app to get more talk content that you will enjoy.